All right, guys, let's get underway. Same format, all 6 of you up here, so we'll start with the 250s. Finishing in third, riding for Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha, Justin Cooper. And second place in the 250s, riding for Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki, Austin Faulkner. And your winner, riding for Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha, Dylan Ferrandis. In the 450s, riding for Team Rocky Mountain, Western Power Sports KTM, Blake Baggett. Finishing in second, riding for Monster Energy Kawasaki, Adam Cincerello. And your winner, riding for Red Bull KTM, Cooper Webb. Congrats, guys. Justin, this is your second full season of Supercross. Sometimes that gets forgotten based on your podium percentage. You're up there a lot, and we forget that this is still your second full season. Now that we're 6 rounds into this championship, you had the red plate for a long time. What have you learned through these 6 rounds that you can carry into the break and carry into the Final Four?
I just learned that starts are key, and that being consistent is what's going to pay off in this championship. We've all had bad nights, and I was the last one to have it, so I felt like I had a good cushion. I kind of blew it when I shouldn't have, but nothing I couldn't really done different, just mistakes on my part, and I guess I've learned from them, but I felt like I rode good tonight, just a little bit off the pace, and yeah, those guys kind of walked away from me.
Awesome, congrats. On the podium, we were talking about the lap times that you and Dylan had today in qualifying, and at night you guys were, your pace was really fast tonight, and you said that he just had a little bit more in this break. What is it that you can do to clean some things up, tighten up, to find that little bit of extra speed? Because we're getting 12 minutes into the main, and you got it, but just need a little more.
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody, we're always all trying to get faster, faster for longer. So we'll work maybe a little bit with the bike, a little bit with me. We're probably going to start, honestly, a little bit of outdoor testing because I'm a year behind. But knowing that I still have a little bit to work on for Supercross, we'll probably, try to not get too caught up in outdoor stuff and try to keep the focus on Supercross, because I feel like we're right there in the championship and in just, riding and everything, real close, and, kind of deja vu this weekend and last weekend, but, led for longer, had, solid day, just, inches.
Dylan, congrats. At round 2 at St. Louis, you go down on that first rhythm section, come back to the pack in 12th, but you lost a lot of ground on the points. Since then, 3 of 4 wins, got the points lead back and a little bit of a cushion going into the break. What has kind of turned here these last few weeks, and you've been able to clean it up, put it all together? What's been the key to that?
I think the start, obviously, the first 2 rounds we made a mistake with the team for the start, and we find solution, and yeah, the last 2 races the start was much better, so that's helped me a lot, getting front in the first lap instead of fighting in the back. So yeah, the start was much better tonight and last weekend also, so a big improvement.
Blake, congrats. Rode alone most of that race, just in third. There was times when you would catch, times when you would lose a little bit. What was going on in the middle part of that race when you were kind of having those moments of closing and losing? Was it just mistakes, or was it them? Just take us through those middle laps.
Yeah, I think that the track was deteriorating fast for sure. It was getting slicker every lap, and the holes and the whoops were getting worse. So I felt like I had some spots that I was catching those guys a little bit, and they were kind of getting into that they were playing cat and mouse a little bit, so they were probably slowing up the pace, so that was helping me reel them in a little bit. But then when I would make a mistake, they would gap right back out. So, it was one of those nights where I felt like I left a little bit out there in some areas, but at the same time, I've been pretty far away from having a podium. So I'm super stoked to be up here and just going to keep working on this, and finally dialed in my starts. Ran it a little deep, almost into the stands off the track, but definitely just happy to be up here, and big thanks to KTM for letting me ride with them this week. I got to ride with Coop, and that's helped a lot.
Adam, congrats. The 250 guys did their first 6 rounds. They get a break. You guys keep going, but this is still kind of like a chapter in the series now that we go east. Just take us through these first 6 rounds. The first one and this one look very similar up there, and there was some race in the middle where things didn't go right. But overall, are you happy with this first chapter of the series?
Yeah, I think overall, I've been waiting for this moment, to be on the big stage, racing the Premier Class and Supercross for a long time, and you never really know where you're going to be. I think I came in with a lot of confidence. I feel like I could, be up here, but it's a whole different world. You have to learn and have to adapt. So, and even I think Anaheim 1 is always a little bit crazy. The results are kind of a little bit tossed up as, in years past. So it means a lot for me to get up here at this point in the season. Obviously still pretty early, but just the way the race happened today, obviously losing it in the end kind of sucks like that, but I felt like I rode well and I made a lot of progress. I adapted well, and I was trying a bunch of different stuff. It just didn't work.
Cooper, congrats. How mad are Hornets?
I don't know, Daniel. You tell me.
Well, you told everybody that you were as mad as a
Yeah,
Hornet.
I was obviously after the heat race going down. I was, when you make dumb mistakes like that, you get mad at yourself. So it was actually a good thing for the main event. Fired me up, but yeah, it was a great main. Obviously, the season has been up and down so far, but last weekend went well, and this week was awesome. Really got to give it up to the team. They worked hard on the motorcycle to get me comfortable, and I felt like my whoops were a lot better, even though I ended up going back to the jump line. But I was pretty comfortable all day, and yeah, great main. Adam was really riding well. It was, I wasn't making up any time, especially early, and as the track kind of deteriorated, like you said, it's hard when you're leading. You want to try things, but you don't want to make a mistake. So it's tough that situation for sure. And yeah, we had a few battles, and man, it was honestly like a really fun main event, and it's cool to walk away with the win for sure.
Were you surprised that gate opened up on the start?
Yeah, I was very surprised. I was 11th pick, so I was expecting more outside, and it obviously wasn't the greatest gate, but it was in the mix, and that's helped me out a lot.
Dark Side Moto X Pod Show. Cooper, you were on this week and talked about, it's time to get moving again and get up there. And you just mentioned the whoops. You kind of look like a different guy before you started jumping. What changed?
Like I said, honestly, just the team really kind of we all sat down and just said, hey, we all need to be better and figure it out. And we see how well Blake hits him on the same bike, so it was time to figure it out. And like he said, obviously, we got to ride a little bit together this week, and he's a bad dude in the whoops, so it's cool to kind of see that and see what I'm doing wrong a little bit. So like I said, obviously we ended up jumping him, but early on I felt pretty strong in him, and all day felt like I fixed my Achilles heel a little bit.
Austin, I'm going to ask you this, but almost anybody can answer this. This track was tight, and it seemed like lappers really played a part in both classes. Talk about that just a little bit.
Yeah, it was. I felt like it was a little bit because of the split lanes, because we were all doing the same thing in the split lanes. Most of the time we were going outside before the finish, and then we were using the outside of the rhythm. And so if you pull up on somebody in those rhythms, if you try to do the other thing, you might lose time to the lapper. Like I did that once. So it was a little tough. You kind of had to be patient in the whoops, but something I kind of figured out in the heat race, because we got into lappers pretty quick, was like with those 2 back-to-back sets of whoops, I could go in 3 seconds behind them, and they wouldn't get a blue flag. They don't even know I'm there. And then, in the second set, if just going by them, they get sketchy, come over. It's going to be game over. So you kind of have to watch, when you're passing them through the whoops, because obviously that was one of the biggest places to pass. You just have to be a little bit, careful, because, they were tough, and, guys get sketchy. So you kind of had to watch them and be a little cautious and definitely give them room. So I feel like it was, just a little bit tough.
Chris from Cooksey Media. So Dylan, this booing thing, it's almost got to be like a game with the fans, and I feel like it's not as much out of hatred as it is just They just want to boo you. Have you thought about embracing it and becoming the anti-hero?
I don't really care. I know there is a little bit of I don't know how to say the word in English, but I think to be French and to fight with an American, obviously Austin, and beat him, I think I can understand the perspective of the fan, but yeah, I feel like only the people that not really inside the industry are booing me, and I mean all the people in the industry they understand the situation, so I don't really take care about that. I know it's gonna be like this for a while, but it's fine. I mean, I'm just try to get the win and put the bonus check in my bank account, and that's all that matters.
Okay, and this is for all three of you 250 guys. Now that you got the break, and I know Dylan, you're probably going 450 next year. Is there any thought of riding it on the East Coast?
I mean, not for me. I got a lot to catch up for outdoors. Like I said, I'm a year behind, so I've got enough to worry about that. And then, obviously getting a little bit better at Supercross too. I mean, so definitely not for me.
Yeah, same thing for me. The last 2 years we didn't have that big break for the Supercross, so I never really have time to fix the bike for the outdoors. So yeah, the plan is to really use this break to make a good bike for the outdoors and make a lot of testing and yeah, try to be better on this point.
Yeah, I think we're gonna all stay with doing our own thing and be fresh for Supercross when we come back in 6 weeks.
Michael Antonovich with Swap Moto Live. This is for the 450 guys. It's 20-minute main, so it's the same thing, but when lap times are 49, 50, 51 seconds, you guys know you're going to be in there for a while. For Cooper and Adam, does that change your racecraft for the night because you think maybe I need to wait for this battle and make it wait until the last little bit so the guy can't retaliate? And then for Blake, you're known to come on late in the motos, so are you embracing this track's going to get beat up, I get to push when everybody else starts backing down?
I mean, for me, I'm hoping they get into a whole cat and mouse and just give me a free pass by. That was my idea. That was what I was voting on. They just weren't listening. I was trying to radio it to them.
Yeah, it's funny. When Cooper and I got next to each other there before the finish line, he was on my outside, and I kind of had to come to a stop so he didn't square me up. And I was laughing on the podium because he screamed at me. He's like, "Come on, like let's not let Blake catch us," But no, it's crazy, man. All the guys that are consistently finishing up front, it seems like kind of all their traits are to come on strong at the end of the race. So for me, compared to a 250, it's almost like you have to break the race up in your mind into two categories. It's like putting yourself in a position and getting there, and then kind of resetting like the last 10 laps or so and really driving it home. Because, I mean, as you can see, like Oakland, like 5 minutes ago, I was right in it, and I ended up losing by like 14 seconds. And then same thing, obviously not the same thing tonight, but if you're not super strong those last 6 or 7 laps, you're not going to win. So just kind of two separate races in my mind.
Yeah, like AC said, I mean, it's tough because you got to have the speed at the beginning, and I felt like, he was really on it, and I was just trying to kind of catch the toe, and then, you get there in the middle where the track's really changing, you're not sure which direction you want to go, the lines change a lot, and then, yeah, it's that 5 minutes or whatever really is a long time. I think it's an extra, tonight would have been like 8 laps, so it's a lot of time for sure.
This is for Austin and Dylan. Both you guys are known to not leave a lot of guys room, but it seems like these battles that you're having, you're both cool with it. It seems like there's no tempers flaring or anything like that. You just know it's racing. So for people that are watching, you two seem fine with it. Do you want to say that publicly so people know? Or is it like, yeah, whatever?
I mean, when you're that close, like when it's, it's inches and it's, hundreds of seconds and everything's that close, and which it has been for the past couple weeks, kind of all season. Like it was, last weekend we were inch away, catch up, like we all kind of had our fast parts on the track, and so just, you can't. What is he gonna do? Follow me? Like what? What's he? It's like if you have this much, you got to take it. And that's what I did with Mosman whenever I passed him for the main. Like honestly, I jumped into the inside and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make this pass. Like I don't, but I gotta try. Like he was behind me and I was like, I gotta try to make something happen. So and that's, I mean, it's racing. If you guys are close, then you got to throw it in sometimes.
Yeah, like you say, for sure, the fact that in 250 the race are shorter, that give us also more pressure. Like you have to make something quick, and we rode the full main event really close, and I tried many places to pass, and I couldn't find it, and when he opened the door, I just jump on it, and for sure it's always a little bit aggressive, always tight, but I mean that's also good entertainment, and we have to find a solution. I would be really mad at this time if I had finished second because I couldn't find a way to pass. I would be really mad. So I had to make it happen, and I feel tonight I was a little bit better in the whoops, and that's helped me a lot. I think if Austin had the same speed as me in the whoops, he would have win tonight.
Steve Giberson with Vital MX. Adam, I think you saw a wheel, maybe the third corner, and then, there was passes going on or attempts throughout the main. How much more mentally tiring is a 450 main than what you were doing in the past with the extra time?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's too much different. It's more of like you're adapting to the track too, and that's something that I'm still getting used to a little bit. Like Cooper kind of alluded to, you get to the middle point of the main, it's like I was skimming the whoops really good on the left-hand side the first set, and then the right-hand side of the second set, and they start kind of getting edgy, you start getting a little kick back and forth, and you're like, okay, what's next? And you have probably 2 laps to figure it out before you get past. So it's stuff like that, but I think I've done enough laps and stuff at like the test track, and I've been doing 20. I knew I was going to go 450s last year, so I've been kind of preparing for this mentally. Like even watching the 450 races, it's just as easy as putting yourself in that mindset and knowing that you're going to be out there. So I've kind of been preparing myself mentally, at least from the outside, looking in for a long time. So I feel like that's helped me a little bit. But as far as like having pressure behind me, I actually always feel like I do a little bit better. I almost think it keeps me a little bit more focused when somebody's right there. But I was stoked we were able to keep it clean tonight, go back and forth, and kind of put on a show. It's fun.
Yeah, Coop, you put that move on kind of in the middle of the race in the off-camber section. I think you surprised Adam a little there.
Yeah, he, like you said, it was, I made that move real early, and then he got right around me, I think still first lap, and then, I was close, and I kind of saw he wasn't sure which way to go, so I did the inside, and then he did a good thing of squaring it up. So I mean it was some good racing and a lot of, like you said, strategy, and it's cool.
Kellen Brower from RacerX. This is for Cooper and Adam. You guys obviously race each other a lot growing up. Even in a big moment like tonight, do you guys feel like you have a pretty good idea of how you guys are going to race each other right there?
I mean, we hadn't raced each other in a long time, so it was. It was cool. Like I felt like, he's a rookie, so it's like you think he's gonna make kind of rookie mistakes, and he was really, really solid tonight, and he's very smart, and his riding style is really good, fits the 450 well. So it was almost like you were battling a seasoned 450 guy. So it was obviously it's cool to be able to look back and think that we're up here on the biggest stage, like you said, and it's pretty cool. We're both, I think he's 23, I'm 24, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think back in the day, racing Cooper, it was like, obviously there was other guys, but when we went out there and we raced each other, it was like, he was looking at me, I was looking at him, and now it's just funny, like the fact we were able to go 1-2 tonight, there's so many other people, it's like you don't really focus on one guy. You don't really focus on any guy, really, but you just know everybody's kind of fast, and it was cool that it kind of came down to us tonight. It kind of brought back some memories, but it was super fun. Obviously wish I would have won, but didn't deserve it, so.
Adam, this week on Pulp, you talked about basically just how big of a fan you are. You said if you weren't racing, you'd be the biggest fan of the sport, period. So when you're out there leading this main and you're coming down to about 7 minutes, anything go through your mind like, okay, this could be a dream that something I've been dreaming about forever, or never even think about it?
No, I don't. As much as and I am, that's all genuine. Like I'm a super big fan of the sport and all that, and it's kind of romanticized in my mind a little bit. But when I'm racing, it's never like that. And even even race day, for example, like I go into a different mindset. You know, I am the nerd that's watching YouTube videos of, you know, 2003 or whatever, watching RC and James and whatever. But when it comes down to race day, I want to win as bad as anybody, you know. I was actually thinking the last part of that, man, I was thinking like, you know, I was struggling, and I was trying to think of Kobe. Like, what would Kobe do? I was trying to put that Kobe face on. So, didn't work for me, though. Didn't work. Rest in peace, Kobe.
So, Blake, the media's kind of given Eli a bit of a rough go as far as because he's up and down. But on nights like this, like, you look so good. And then other nights, I feel like it's only fair to ask you, what is it about nights like tonight versus other nights where we kind of don't see it?
I don't know. That's $1 million question. I asked myself the same thing. Well, tonight was a start. I guess Anaheim too I wasn't laying on the ground. So it's just there's probably 12 guys that, you know, are going to be up there trying to win that can win. The gate's full with 22 guys, but it's just, everybody's so good. You know, when you look at qualifying, there's 5 guys within a tenth of a second. First practice, Coop beat me by 100th of a second or so. So it's like, you know, there's just so many guys, and you make a mistake or you have a bad night, you're not up there. And that's kind of just the way the sport goes. And I'm old enough now, older than these guys by far, that I kind of just take it and run with it, and don't stew in front on it. Don't think about it too much. Just move on to the next weekend and ride the roller coaster.
This is for Justin Cooper. You've been the points leader up until this week. You've had the red plate. That's a lot of pressure, second year. To go into this break and not have it now, is that, I mean, it's not ideal, but is that a release of pressure off you of now you don't have to go these next 6 weeks wondering, like, what is everybody doing to catch me?
I've honestly had no pressure running the red plate for some reason. It's really early in the season, and there's still so much racing to go even now. Being halfway through, we still have the East-West shootouts to go through, and yeah, there's really been no pressure on me. I've just been going out and doing my best each time, and it's not, I mean, I would like to have it still. It's nice to have, and I feel like I rode like I would if I didn't have it. So yeah, red plate or not, I feel like I'm doing the best I can each time out, so that's all that counts.
Hey, my name is Andrew. I have a question from Revista Moto for the 3 250 riders, and then a question separately for Cooper. For the 250 riders, how do you balance the momentum you have now for Supercross versus and now with the 6-week break with motocross testing or training? How do you keep your momentum for Supercross and at the same time test and train for outdoors?
I think we've been doing Supercross for like, what, 4 or 5 months now straight. So we've definitely are lacking on motocross. So you stay fresh on Supercross by maybe doing Supercross like once a week and, you know, a couple days of outdoors or whatever. But I think we can all pretty much focus on outdoors for a little bit and then still be pretty fresh on Supercross. We've been doing it a while, and just it's time to, you know, get on some outdoor and get a little bit more comfortable there since it's been so long.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and sometimes when you go ride outdoors and then coming back to Supercross, sometimes you come back and you're like, sometimes you're just better. It's weird how that can happen, but I've had it work both ways. You know, you go ride Supercross and you come back to outdoors and you're just ripping, or vice versa. So sometimes it's nice to switch it up, and you know, I mean, we got some work to do with the bike, obviously. So yeah, it's mainly going to be, I guess, working on the bike stuff. Maybe some 30 minutes, some longer stuff. A little probably change off the bike, maybe a little bit. Yeah. Just trying to get as much. You know, we don't really have time to, like, okay, we're going to train for 30s. Like, we don't really have time to do that with Supercross. Like, so probably try to throw in a little bit of the longer stuff because, I mean, between the last Supercross and outdoors 2 weeks. So yeah, try to get a little bit of that style training in maybe now. But yeah, definitely I'd work with the bike probably.
I feel like 6 week without racing it's kind of tough to manage because we have some outdoor testing like the other guy said, and also we're gonna probably rest a little bit, make improve on what we need, and Yeah, I think 6-week break back to racing is gonna be a little weird. We're gonna have to be ready. We really, I think the guy who's gonna use this 6-week break, the guy who's gonna walk out and train the most is gonna be is the guy who's gonna win the next race.
Cooper, I have a quick question for you. Can you talk a little bit about we know about your physical preparation. Can you talk about your mental fortitude and how you prepare mentally for each race? You weren't racing, as you even acknowledged, in practice that was that great. How did you come back and win? Is it mental, is it your mental fortitude and confidence, or is there a strategy that you had all along with this race?
I don't really know. I mean, obviously, I think I had a lot of confidence from last week, and then qualifying today was actually a lot better for me. First time I've been first, and then fourth overall, so I was pretty happy with that. And like I said, in the heat race I kind of crashed, but it is what it is, and got to just put myself in a good position. I think that's the biggest thing is there's so much that can happen in racing. You can get a whole shot or you can be dead last, so it's always, you never know what to expect, but just try to never give up and push to the end.
Thanks. All right, thank you.
Congratulations, guys. Thank you.